All right, let's look at this. Direct and inverse variation. Okay. We're going to fill out the front of this all together, and then we're going to fill out the back half of it together. Okay. But we're not going to look at the back yet. It's not time. I'm not mad. We're just not going to look there yet. Let's fill out the front first. Okay. A square with a side length x units has a perimeter of y units. How do we find perimeter? Add all the sides, right? So how do we find the perimeter of a square? So 4x. You see any problem with that? It asks for an equation, right? 4x is not an equation, it's an expression. What do we need in order for it to be an equation? It needs some sort of equal sign, right? In this case, it's y because y is the perimeter, right? So y equals 4x, okay? Well, if y equals 4x, if you haven't grabbed your calculator and put it on your desk yet, you need to do that quickly. If y equals 4x and x equals 3, what is y? 12, right? Because 3 times 4. If y equal, or sorry, if y equals 4x and x equals 7.5, what is y? 30. If y equals 4x and x equals 9.5, what's y? 38. Good. Okay, so far? A rectangle with a length of x units and a width of y units and has an area of 60 units. What's our equation? X times y equals 60. Everybody agree with that? Two of us? Okay, excellent. Okay, but do we usually have our equations set up like this? How do we have our equations set up? Y equals, right? What do I need to do to get this equation y equals? No, 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 no. Divide by x. Why am I dividing by x? Because I'm multiplying it right now, right? So if I divide both sides by x, what do I get? 60 over x. Good. Now we need to fill in the table, right? If y equals 60 over x and x equals 4, what is y? If y equals 60 over x and x equals 8, what's y? 7.5. If y equals 60 over x and x equals 12, y is 5. Good. Okay, so far? Okay. A man 5 feet tall casts a 3-foot shadow. At the same time of day, a tree y feet high casts an x foot shadow. How are we going to set that up? Oh, like a proportion? Okay. How do you want to set it up? Should we start with y? Y over x? I'm okay with that. Equals 5 over 3. Perfect. And the problem with that is it's not y equals, right? So how do I get it to y equals? Multiply both sides by x. When I multiply both sides by x, I get y equals 5 over 3 times x, right? Okay. So if y equals 5 over 3x and x equals 4.5, what is y? 7.5. If y equals 5 over 3x and x equals 9, what is y? 15. If y equals 5 over 3x and x equals 10.5, good. Okay, so far? Okay. Number 4, a person 60 inches tall looks through a mirror 30 inches from the wall. If she is y inches away, how far y up the wall can she see? Can I take a commercial break? What is this person doing? What is she doing? Why is there a mirror on the floor? Why is she trying to see up the wall? Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, can we not get stuck in the actual problem and just do the math? They had to come up with some problem that would set up like this, and I guess this was the best they could come up with. A random woman staring at a mirror on the floor to see how high up the wall she could see. Weirdo, yeah. Okay, back to the show. How should we set this up? Y over 30. Same triangle, right? Y over 30 equals, if it's Y, what has to go on the top? This, right? How tall is this girl? 60 over X. Now, for the record, how many different ways is there to set up this ratio? 4 that I can think of, maybe more. So is this the only way we could have done it? No. I like to start with Y first, just because I know that's what I'm going to end up solving for. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so how do I get Y by itself here? Multiply both sides by 30, right? So Y equals 1800 over X. So if Y equals 1800 over X and X equals 20, what's Y? 90. How many of you didn't use your calculator for that? Good, because what's 18 divided by 2? 9, so 90, right? What about Y equals 1800 over X and X equals 40? That one's not as easy, is it? No, it's not as easy, but it's still 45, right? Okay, and Y equals 1800 over X and X equals 60? Did you have to use your calculator for that one? Good. If you did, that's fine too. Not judging. Okay, don't have time for that. Number 5, for X people to travel, the cost Y for renting a bus at $7.50 per person. What's that equation look like? Perfect. Y equals 750X. 750 per person, right? So that's why X is multiplied by the 750. So what if X is 10? 75. What if X is 25? Good. And then what if X is 30? 225. Good. Number 6, the bus will cost $180 to rent. If X people ride, how much will it cost per person? Yeah, but if there's X people riding and we're trying to figure out how much it will cost, but the total cost was 180, shouldn't it be that? So to solve for Y, yes, Y equals 180 over X. Good. Okay, so far? Let's finish our table. If X is 8, 22.5. If X is 12, 15. And if X is 30, 6. Okay, so far. Now, before you flip it over, I just want you to make some observations inside of your own head. What does that mean? Yeah, without out loud. Okay, we'll use your words. That's fine. Without out loud. Okay, without out loud, I want you to make some observations. Now, we did them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I need you to notice that they're set up in a particular way. Would you please notice without out loud all of the equations in the left-hand column? What do you notice about them without out loud? Now, would you please notice all the tables in the left-hand column? What do you notice about the tables without out loud? Now, Right-hand column. Look at these equations. What do you notice? And now notice the tables. Do you see any patterns? That can be out loud. Do you see any patterns? Yes, then let's decide what the patterns mean. Okay? Let's start with the tables. If X blanks, then Y blanks. Left-hand column. What's happening to the X's? They increase. So as if X is increasing, or if X increases, what's happening to Y? We're talking about 1, 3, and 5, so we're talking about this column. Isn't it also increasing? Okay, so Y increases. Yes? What about the other column, 2, 4, and 6? What's happening to the X's and what's happening to the Y's? So the X's, if X increases, Y decreases. Okay, so far. We're going to skip relationships for a second and look at equations first, because that'll make it a little easier to talk about the relationship. Okay? In 1, 3, and 5, in this left-hand column, what do all of the equations look like? So they all look like Y equals something X. We're going to call that something K. It is another letter, and you're not freaking out, right? What do all the equations in the right-hand column look like? So that's one way that they look, right? What's the other way that they look? Especially the first one and the last one. How did we start out? XY equals K, right? Isn't that how we started out? Okay. Go back to the relationships. First of all, have you ever seen anything that looks like this one before? Like Y equals mx? Like Y equals mx plus b? You've done this for a long time, right? What do we normally call the m? The slope, right? What's another word for slope, though? R is not a word, it's a letter. I was trying to give you a hint. Yeah. A constant rate or a constant ratio. Okay. In this column, X and Y have a constant rate or a constant ratio. Same thing, different words. Okay. What about this one, though? What are X and Y doing? They're multiplying, right? To find K, so they have a constant. Oh my gosh. You guys are amazing at identifying letters. I'm very proud of you. What are X and Y doing to each other? Thank you. They're multiplying, right? That's a common product. So I need you to know that the left-hand column is called direct variation. Yeah, it's almost like the title of the worksheet, right? Yeah, okay. Then what's this one called? What do you think the most popular incorrect answer is this one called? Most common incorrect answer is indirect, right? Direct and indirect, this is not English, and we're not talking about objects, right? Okay, this is math. We have direct variation when we have inverse variation. You guys know how much I love English and how much I respect your English teachers. I am an English teacher. I'm a certified English teacher. Go search up my teaching certificate online. I'll even do it for you in a second so you can see it. I am, because some of you don't know how to spell inverse. Some of you know how to spell vertical. That was very proven on your last test. I might have to start taking off points for misspelling vertical. V-E-R-T-I-C-L-E. That's how people spelled it. Multiple. It is C-A-L. Multiple people spelled it C-L-E on their test. Not judging them, but we need to learn how to spell. Here's what a sample is going to look like. If y varies directly as x and y equals 12 and x equals 8, then what is y when x equals 24? You're not going to have to worry about trying to figure out which kind it's asking you, because the word is either going to be directly or the word is going to be, it's going to be in the sentence. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Inversely? Yes. Thank you. We're going to do both of these as our samples for our homework right down here. Okay? Number one, we need to find K, because I can't do anything without finding K, can I? Well, it gives us enough information right here to find K. It tells us y equals 12 and x equals 8. Doesn't that give us enough information to find K? If y equals 12 when x equals 8, can we find K? I can find it by dividing both sides by 8, right? K equals what? What is 12 divided by 8? Yes, because each of them are divisible by 4, right? So 3/2. But have I answered the question yet? No, the question says what is y when x equals 24? Well, now that I know what k is, now I can find y. Y equals, for this problem, y equals 3/2x, right? That's what the equation is, right? I found k, so let's go ahead and plug k in. Now, what else do I know? X is 24, right? So what is y when x is, that's a 3, 24? 36. That's actually my answer, but I can't get that as an answer unless I find this first. Does that make sense? Any questions about solving a direct variation question? Okay, let's do an inverse variation question then. Guess what the first step is? Find k. Which of these two equations do you think would be best to use to find k? Not the one that's set equal to k? Wouldn't that be easier? Because it tells us, again, it tells us x and y. If we're trying to find k, wouldn't this one be best to use? Now, can you use this one? Yes, but in order to solve for k, I'm going to have to multiply both sides by x. Isn't that the way this is already set up? So x, which is 8, times y, which is 12, equals k. So what does k equal in this problem? 96. Now, which one of these equations do you think would be best to find y? Y equals k over x. So y equals 96 over x, but in this case, x is 24. So y equals 96 over 24. Y equals 4. Any questions? You good? So you should be good for the bottom 6 down here. Can we talk about these 4 real quick? Okay. What has to be true about tables for you to know if it's direct or inverse variation? Or neither. First, you need to look for increase or decrease, right? But automatically increase and decrease, is that automatically inverse? They have to have a common product. So you see increase and decrease and you think maybe it's inverse. Let's see if they have a common product. What are these two multiplied together? What are these two multiplied together? What are these two multiplied together? If all three of those are the same, it's inverse. We look and we see increase, increase. Does that automatically mean direct? No, they have to have a common ratio. That means y divided by x has to be the same thing as y divided by x as y divided by x. Does that make sense? And if they are, it's direct. And if it's not, even though it's increase, increase, if it doesn't have the same rate or ratio, what do I write? Neither. Does everybody understand how to do these four? 1 through 10, that's your homework.